Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online Regulation H VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. The Regulation H rule set has officially started and we'll be playing this rule set all the way until January. Of course, this brand new rule set excludes Pokemon like Paradox Pokemon as well as legendary Pokemon, and so the power level has drastically decreased compared to the previous months of VGC, and it's a return to a lot of the basics that we may be familiar with from the past. To get things started, I'm going to be using one of the strongest concepts in a format like this, which is Trick Room plus Sun. You have the combination of Pokemon like Hisuan Lilligant as well as Torkoal, and you've got Indeedee plus Armarouge as well as Gallade plus Ursaluna. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video or subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, welcome to Regulation H. I cannot wait to dive into this rule set with all of you throughout the next couple of weeks and months, and I'm so happy to finally get started officially here on Road to Ranked. Anyway, let's dive into things. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. This team utilizes the combination of Trick Room as well as Sun to overwhelm your opponents. You've got 3 Trick Room setters in Armarouge, Indeedee, and Gallade, 2 Trick Room sweepers in Ursaluna and Torkoal, and Hisuan Lilligant, which is really powerful when paired with that Torkoal. What makes this team so difficult to deal with is the number of lead combinations that your opponents have to respect. Specifically, Armarouge, Indeedee, Gallade, Indeedee, and Torkoal, Hisuan Lilligant are all really powerful, and it's often hard to come up with a lead combo that can beat all of those. For example, Lilligant as Torkoal is very much about dealing damage immediately, whereas Indeedee, Gallade, Indeedee, Armarouge pressure with Trick Room immediately, and even dealing with those leads can be really tricky because you don't know who's going to click Trick Room and who is going to necessarily want to attack. Once you get up that Trick Room, you'll be able to deal massive amounts of damage, and if you commit to Torkoal and Lilligant, you don't even necessarily need to set up Trick Room in the early game. So the team just has a fair bit of flexibility, and with so many Trick Room users, it often will be really difficult to deny Trick Room being set up, thus allowing you to bring your most powerful attackers in and win the game quickly. Breaking each individual Pokemon down, the first Pokemon I want to talk about is Gallade. Question of the day, by the way, I want to know what your early thoughts about this format are down in the comment section below. I'm personally enjoying it a lot. I think new formats are always fun for me to play, and it's really refreshing going to a format that does not have any legendary, paradox, or restricted Pokemon after using those Pokemon for so long throughout the last year in VGC. So we'll see where things develop, but so far I'm definitely enjoying it a ton. Now, I wanted to start off with Gallade because this Pokemon actually just finished top 8 at the World Championships, and that was in a format with restricted Pokemon. So now that the power level has decreased drastically, you can imagine it has even more potential. Gallade here is really nice. It is one of my actually favorite Pokemon of all time. I used Trick Room Gallade way back in the day in 2012, and it's so cool to see that it can still thrive today. With Sharpness as an ability, you just do so much damage with Psycho Cut and Sacred Sword, and Clear Amulet's such a good item on this, preventing those Intimidates from Incineroar as well as Hisuian Arcanine, for example. Gallade is just such a strong combination when paired with Indeedee as a lead because you pressure with a lot of damage immediately. You can also pressure with Trick Room, and Wide Guard is one of the best support moves in VGC. Think about the number of spread moves that you'll see, right? Golden Goals Make It Rain, Hisuian Typhlosion's Eruption, Ursaluna, Blood Moon's Hyper Voice, for example. Being able to block all of those with Wide Guard is really handy, and people love leading really powerful Pokemon with spread moves to start off the game. So Gallade plus Indeedee is powerful because you pressure a lot of damage, and Gallade also just has good natural bulk, right? Base 115 special defense means even without any investment and max HP, you can survive a lot of special attacks. And so this Pokemon is difficult to KO. Often you'll be forced to double up into it if you actually want to get a knockout. And the combination of support plus offense from it makes it so valuable. Indeedee is a natural partner for it. This is a pretty classic Indeedee with Psychic Seed, max HP, max defense, and the idea is that, of course, you pressure with Trick Room, you set up Psychic Terrain. Psychic Terrain is so valuable in enabling both Gallade as well as the Armarouge here, and you also have Helping Hand support. Grass Terra is pretty common on Indeedee, and that's particularly valuable into the Amoonguses that you may run into. Armarouge is the other Pokemon that really thrives off the Psychic Terrain here. This is going to be a min-speed Armarouge. Sometimes people will run like modest 31 speed IV to not necessarily always have to set up Trick Room in order to thrive with Armarouge. And even with no speed investment, of course, Armarouge will still be outpacing some things that you run into, but with this variant, you just want to set up Trick Room a little bit more commonly. Armarouge is a Pokemon that can also run Wide Guard. This set does have Protect, and so I think one of the things with Protect is sometimes people will double up into Armarouge on turn 1 if you lead Armarouge Indeedee. You can protect Trick Room and then just pressure with Helping Hand, Expanding Force afterwards. Pretty straightforward set here. Grass Terra also really common on Armarouge, and with Flash Fire, it's really nice defensively because you get rid of one of the classic weaknesses to Grass in Fire thanks to your ability. Indeedee plus Armrouge, also one of the very strong lead combinations with this team. This is really good if your opponent does not have many good answers to Psychic type damage or Psychic terrain, right? If they can't get rid of the terrain, if they don't have Dark type Pokemon, then this is just an obvious go-to lead combination. So Indeedee really helps enable both Armrouge and Gallade, which is incredible. You also have Ursaluna, which is just a classic Trick Room sweeper here. Min speed, nothing too crazy about it. This is a very standard moveset. Ghost Terra as well. And so, yeah, Ursaluna is just so powerful because it's able to dish out massive amounts of damage. The main thing to think about when you use this Pokemon is enabling it with that Guts and Flame Orb. So when you set up that Trick Room, you'll want to think about maybe switching an Ursaluna right when you set up Trick Room, or hard switching immediately instead of hoping for your opponent to knock something out. Once Ursaluna gets that Flame Orb activated and it's online, it's just able to get a one-hit knockout onto almost everything in the format, which is so powerful. To round out the team, you've got Torkoal plus Hisuan Lilligant. This Torkoal is a charcoal set with no choice specs. Choice specs is often seen on Torkoal, but of course, if you have choice specs, then you are not able to switch your moves. And one of the downsides of that is even something like Fire, Terra, Sun boosted, Charcoal boosted Eruption, like, they're a Pokemon that can survive that, and then if they survive and deal a ton of damage to Torkoal, Torkoal's caught in a really awkward spot the next turn because then your Eruptions just do so much less damage. Charcoal still increases your damage output of your Fire type attacks, and you're running Weather Ball here. You can run Earth Power or Solar Beam here as well, but Weather Ball just gives you a really consistent attack, and it is just so powerful. It could be something like Flamethrower or Overheat as well, for example, so a lot of flexibility. And then Clear Smog here is needed to beat Dondozo, because otherwise Dondozo just kind of has a really good matchup against everything, right? Where it can soak up damage, stall out Trick Room. With Grass Terra, you can't even put it to sleep with Sleep Powder, for example. So you're already going to bring Torkoal into most matchups, but against Dondozo in particular, you really want to position to get that Clear Smog off. And this sometimes may come off as a surprise to opponents, but just having a move that can give Dondozo a lot of trouble, I think is super valuable. The Torkoal obviously thrives under Trick Room. You get Trick Room up, you bring it out, you just go for Fire, Terra, Eruption. But it also doubles down as a really strong partner for Hisuan Lilligant as the lead. Torkoal Lilligant, really oppressive because you have so many different things that you pressure with, right? You've got the after you into Fire, Terra, Eruption immediately. You've got the Sleep Powder immediately, right? With Torkoal boosting Lilligant's speed. You can just attack with both Pokemon as well. So a lot of different combinations from this duo. Lilligant is the Pokemon that rounds out this team, and Hisuan Lilligant is being used over regular Lilligant here because it just gives you another more offensive option. Hisuan Lilligant's really nice because you've got both Solar Blade and Close Combat, so it's a ton of offensive pressure. Grass and Fighting's really unique coverage as well, and between these two, After You and Sleep Powder, there are just so many options it can go for on turn 1. Stellar Terra is also really nice because it just gives you a little bit of extra damage, and so one of the things you can consider is actually using Hisuan Lilligant in the end game, saving that Stellar Terra, and then using it to just sweep through your opponent. Ghost Terra also really valuable on Hisuan Lilligant to get around fake outs on turn 1, for example, but Stellar Terra I think is something that can also carry you through games. So in terms of lead combinations, I think the 3 go-to ones that I like are Hisuan Lilligant Torkoal, Gallade Indeedee, as well as Armrouge Indeedee. Of course, there are a lot of different other things you can consider, but to me, those just feel like the most natural combinations right away. Of course, you could go with something like Indeedee Ursaluna, Indeedee Torkoal, but then you're bringing out your Trick Room Sweeper immediately, and it's at risk of taking damage. Indeedee doesn't have Protect here, so then it's also at risk of just getting doubled up into, and then Trick Room does not get set up. So, yeah. So in terms of weaknesses, for a team like this that does rely a fair bit on Trick Room, if you're able to either deny the Trick Room or reverse it, or have Pokemon that can just stall it out, those are all really valuable, right? So having your own Trick Room, having Imprison plus Trick Room, having something like Roar to switch out the Trick Room user as it tries to set up Trick Room can all be powerful. Another thing you can take advantage on this team is the lack of Protect on Lilligant, Torkoal, Gallade, as well as the Indeedee. I think this team is also a little bit vulnerable to double ups, for example. So let's say you lead Indeedee plus Gallade, Indeedee plus Armrouge, you can always safely double up onto the Indeedee because this Indeedee just does not have Protect, right? One of the other things that you'll want to think about is actually intentionally not picking up knockouts in the early turns, right? Because what this team loves to do is, imagine I lead Indeedee Gallade, I go for Trick Room, you knock out my Indeedee, and then I get a free switch into Torkoal and Ursaluna. Then you have to deal with a really powerful Trick Room sweeper with 4 turns of Trick Room. If you intentionally don't pick up a knockout onto the turn 1, onto Indeedee, for example, then it can be interesting because Indeedee is stuck out on the field, right? So it's either forced to kind of just waste the turn. It can go for Helping Hand, it can go for Psychic or Follow Me, but that's better than often, you know, Ursaluna or Torkoal being able to get a really powerful attack off. So punishing your opponents for that that can be really valuable. Some tools that obviously help out against Trick Room are Substitute as well as Protect. Protect is really, really nice, and I think this team can be a little bit weak to double Protects, right? If your opponent's lucky and gets 2 Protects back-to-back, that can give you some trouble as well. And so, yeah, I think that's, those are all some tools to beat hard Trick Room, but that being said, like, even having fought against a lot of those tools, it doesn't mean just auto win, right? You have to pilot it and you have to play really smart, and really smart hard Trick Room player won't just allow you to use those tools to win immediately, but those are all some ways that obviously you can shut down these combinations. I think for Torkoal and Lilligant, having your own weather is also really valuable. Having Fake Out is valuable, especially since this Lilligant isn't Ghost Terra. You can just Fake Out, double up into it. Pelipper, for example, can be really scary for a lot of the Pokemon on this team to deal with, since you don't actually hit it very hard with Torkoal, and Pelipper is often Sash, so you need 2 attacks into it, and the combination of Wide Guard, Weather Ball, and Hurricane gives the entirety of this team a ton of trouble as well. So yeah, those are just a couple of notes. Alright, we have Dondozo, Tatsu, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Rillaboom, and Golden Go for our very first official game of Reg H. Torkoal is definitely, I think, one of the most important Pokemon in this matchup, especially thanks to Clear Smog. That's our Dondozo answer. To set up Trick Room, what do I want to lead with? I think one of the questions is, how good is Armarouge into this matchup? Would I prefer Gallade as a Trick Room setter instead? I think Armarouge is pretty weak to T-Tar Exca, so I default towards Gallade plus Indeedee as the lead with Torkoal plus Ursaluna. But I think you theoretically could go Lilligant in this one. The problem with Lilligant is after you is really difficult to get off, so I'd be bringing it more for its offense, but it is tough because I think I do want to prioritize setting up Trick Room in this one. If I don't set up Trick Room, Dondozo can kind of just wreck me. So the idea here is set up Trick Room, use Clear Smog to try to beat the Dondozo, and then, yeah, just brute force our way through their team. The question is whether or not I have enough turns of Trick Room to beat my opponent, because if I need to, bring Clear Smog Torkoal, that's a turn that I need to spend just Clear Smogging. Dondozo can Protect. And so in this game, we might actually try to think about setting up Trick Room twice. I know we haven't even, started the match, but that's just one of the first things I'm thinking about, because they have Dondozo, and Dondozo in itself can just stall out Trick Room somewhat effectively. So we don't want to lose both Indeedee and Gallade, I think, too quickly. They're going to go with Indeedee plus Tyranitar. I'm worried about Imprison on their Indeedee. They have Psychic Seed as well. I think there's a very good chance they have Imprison here. Our Psychic Seed also activates. And activates. I think turn 1 I'm going to go for Helping Hand and Sacred Sword into Indeedee. I could also target Tyranitar here and basically force a Terra out of that, which doesn't seem terrible. But if they indeed are Imprisoned, I think it's probably more important to just get rid of Indeedee. Problem is, I'm not sure Helping Hand Sacred Sword even gets the KO onto it. Tyranitar could Terra here. Okay. I'm going to Helping Hand Sacred Sword. I think if they're leading, there's no way they don't have Imprison. Tyranitar switches. Nice. Dondozo, maybe? Nope. Golden Go. Okay, nice. So good thing we didn't Sacred Sword that slot. This means they didn't bring Dozo, though. Yeah, there's the Imprison. One of the things that's really important when you use Hard Trick Room is to be able to identify what your opponent's potential counters to it are. And Helping Hand Sacred Sword does get the one-hit knockout. Okay, awesome. I wasn't sure about that damage calc. That could not have been a better turn 1 for us. We basically get rid of the biggest threat to our team in Imprison, and we don't take any damage either. So now they can bring Tyranitar back out. We have Wide Guard pressure. I could go like Wide Guard, Grass Terra, Indeedee, and Trick Room. I'm mainly worried, like I want to respect Steel Terra, Make It Rain right now. Yeah, so I think Wide Guard, Grass Terra, Trick Room here is pretty safe. One of the really important things about using Hard Trick Room is being able to assess how you can safely get Trick Room up, right? So it's like, in this case, I want to just cover for every combination of attacks my opponents can have. And Golden Go is normally going to be clicking Make It Rain or Shadow Ball. It would be absolutely wild for them to be clicking Shadow Ball in this position because you're up against an Indeedee, which has Follow Me and is immune to Shadow Ball. And Grass Terror also just covers for Tyranitar and its Dark-type attacks. So with the combo of Wide Guard and Grass Terror, I think it'll be impossible for my opponent to deny Trick Room this turn, but let's see. But yeah, it's like Imprison is such a good answer into this kind of stuff. Like if I didn't go for the attack on turn 1, my opponent would have been in a really nice spot on turn 2, but getting rid of Indeedee and like not losing anything on turn 1 was the best trade we could ask for. So perfect, they do go for Make It Rain. We have Wide Guard here to stop it. Excellent. And they go for Rock Slide, so it's double spread damage here. Perfect. Yeah, this is why Gallade is such a nice tool on these compositions. We'll get Trick Room up now. Perfect. Okay, could not have asked for a better 2-turn start here. But yeah, the main thing I wanted to cover for was like Choice Band Tyranitar getting a crunch into Indeedee. Because from this point onwards, it's just really important that we get Trick Room up in the game, right? So I would guess that Tyranitar probably Terras in this position, but if it Terras, it means that Torkoal can just come out and click Eruption. So I'm fine clicking Sacred Sword here into Tyranitar and Helping Hand. At this point, we just want our Pokemon to faint so that I get a free switch into what I have in the back. One of the things with Hard Trick Room is you can also consider just like switching out immediately. But I think right now I don't want to, say, just switch Torkoal in and eat up too much damage. But after they go for a Make It Rain, after they go for a Terra, then it's totally okay. Okay, Tyranitar is not going to Terra. They're going to Protect here, which makes sense. I'm going to go for Sacred Sword. I'm thinking about Helping Hand Psycho Cut into Tyranitar next turn, but I think Sacred Sword with Helping Hand still just does so much damage. They are going to Nasty Claw here with Golden Ghost, so this is a great turn by my opponent. I think Torkoal switch in here would have worked out really well, but I wasn't sure what kind of Golden Ghost set my opponent was. Okay. I could Wide Guard and switch in Ursaluna right now, which I actually think is really safe. Yeah. This way I just get Ursaluna out safely, and I'll have Ursaluna and Torkoal next to each other. The main thing is, I didn't get anything out of my first turn of Trick Room, and I'm not really getting anything out of my second turn of Trick Room either. So, like, this last turn, I wasn't sure what the items would be on Tyranitar and Golden Go, right? Like, Assault Vest is common on the Tyranitar. I was just hoping to force a Terra out. Choice Specs is common on Golden Go. But they end up going for the perfect turn, which is Protect on Tyranitar and then Nasty Plot, to stall a turn of Trick Room and not give me any free switch-ins either. I think now, though, the Tyranitar should certainly feel pressure to Terra or switch out. And so I'm hoping we can bait out the Terra here, because if so, then it's just perfect for Torkoal to sweep. But like, they're going to make the pivot instead, which is the better option of the two for them in this spot. And they did actually bring Dondozo. Earlier, I was like, well, you know, it looks like Golden goes out. They're not going to have Dondozo, but turns out they do, which is really interesting. So we're going to Wide Guard. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up Shadow Balling into us, but it actually is still just Make It Rain. So I'll gladly take that. And now Ursaluna's in such a good spot because with Wide Guard, I ignore both your Make It Rain and your Shadow Ball. And, you know, Dondozo in this matchup, like, the reason you bring it is basically so that you can have just a bulky Pokemon. It's not lefties, though. That's interesting. Okay. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I am happy to go for Wide Guard and actually just click Earthquake right now. We're still waiting to bait out a Terra here. I think the main thing I'm worried about right now is Golden Go having a like defensive Terra, like Flying, for example. A lot of Golden Go still run Steel Terra, but with Nasty Plot, a defensive Terra makes more sense. Golden Go, it's going to go for a Protect. Okay. So Dondozo is not going to Protect. Fine by me. They might just be Wave Crashing into our Ursaluna, which is fine. Okay. Earthquake does a ton there. Here's Wave Crash into us. Yep. Almost gets the KO. They take a ton in recoil. No more sand anymore. Cool. So now it is the last turn of Trick Room. Yep. We still have Indeedee and Torkoal in the back. I mean, I think this has to go for a defensive Terra now. So I'm thinking I actually want to go for Psycho Cut into this. And Headlong Rush. It's just, like, the only thing I'm worried about is a random Flying Terra. I think anything else and we're okay here. So, yeah, I'm going to Psycho Cut and Headlong Rush. Flying Terra would just be, like, not the most common Terra on Golden Go, but Dondozo protects here. Okay, they might also just try to double protect with Golden Go. Yeah, they go for the double, but they don't get it. Okay, cool. I think that should put us in a super winning position, especially because this Dondozo is just going to KO itself, basically, with sand damage. But I think my opponent did a really good job of bringing the game back after turns 1 and turn 2, because I had such a strong early start, right? They were able to actually stall out my Trick Room pretty effectively. And in the closed team shit environment, like, not knowing the Golden Go and Tyranitar's items made me a little bit more spooked. So we're going to feint from Burn, but that's totally fine because now I can just bring out Indeedee once again. And like I said, coming into this battle, I might want to set up Trick Room twice, and I think we actually will end up doing that. Although, funnily enough, like, we're doing it despite them not even bringing Dondozo plus Tatsugiri. It's interesting that they didn't bring the Tatsu here. But Clear Smog is fairly common on Torkoal, so maybe they just expected that. Either way, now let's go for Trick Room and follow me. I think the only thing I'm worried about at this point would be like a Rock Slide flinch from Tyranitar. But the reality is with Grass Terra, the Dondozo shouldn't really be able to do very much into Indeedee. If you end up clicking Wave Crash, you'll actually probably faint from Wave Crash plus sand damage. We're finally going to see the Terra now. Okay. Terra, Tyranitar into Psychic. Okay. That's fine by me. I wonder if they're Terra Blast if you have Psychic there. Either way, we'll go for Follow Me here. Let's see if they Rock Slide. Cool. Yep, it is Terra Blast, but that's totally okay. Like, even if Indeedee gets KO'd here, which I wouldn't expect it to. Perfect. Yawn Dondozo. Okay, I wonder if this is actually just, like, not Dondozo plus Tatsu, and it's, like, a bluff. Or, sorry, it's not Commander. That's something that people like to use in the closed team sheet environment, and I think that would actually make a lot of sense, given that you're Yawn. But I'm still curious about the item on Dondozo. No leftovers is very interesting. Okay. I am happy to go for... Yeah, I want to just get the safe switching into Torkoal, ideally. I think here I'm happy to just Psycho Cut Psychic. They might double protect, but at this point, because we've gotten another Trick Room up, I don't think they can really get out of this. I think the main thing here is the Indeedee switch out seems fairly obvious. I probably could still go for it, to be honest. It's like neither of these Pokemon are actually that threatening to the Torkoal in the back. But I'm also happy to just get some damage on the board right now. Okay, cool. They just Wave Crash, so you'll end up fainting. Okay, I'll lose both of my Pokemon here. They do end up actually critting me, which I think mattered. But it's fine. Like, Torkoal should win the 1v1 against Tyranitar. They're not Assault Vested, so we just bring out Torkoal and then we just click Eruption. There's Psychic. Cool. Gets a little bit of chip. And they're going to Terra Blast again. I'm curious about the Tyranitar moveset ultimately here. That gets the knockout onto us. Yep. And I think in this position, like, maybe I could have gone for Follow Me with Gallade, or Indeedee, for example. Because, like I said, I think, like, without the crit, we should be surviving that. So, I guess what's interesting now is if Eruption does not KO single target Tyranitar, but, like, they have no sand buff anymore. So I'd be very surprised if this was able to hang on. And there's still 3 turns of Trick Room, so even if they survive, get a Rock Slide, Protect, you would still need a double Protect to win the game. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe hard switching actually was the better play there. Hard switch Indeedee. Either way, here's single target Charcoal Boost Eruption. Yeah, that's okay. I figured it'd be fine here. I think one of the really important things when you're playing against Tyranitar is baiting out Terra. Because once you bait out that Terra, which is why Gallade's so important in this matchup against Tyranitar, once you bait out that Terra, Torkoal just becomes infinitely stronger, right? So, a lot of scary things in this matchup. They had Dondozo, which was actually slower than a lot of our Pokemon under Trick Room. It had Yawn as well. They had Imprison Indeedee, and they had Tyranitar, which obviously stops Torkoal's strength a little bit. But in the end, we were able to just, like, overwhelm them with offense. But after turn 2, I felt like I should be in, like, a super commanding spot, and I thought my opponent made a lot of good plays to keep themselves in this game. So, kudos to them. Alright, to win here should put us back into Master Ball tier as we kick off the brand new regulation. And here we've got King Gambit, Hisuan Arcanine, Ursaluna, Primarina, Murkrow, and Rillaboom. So, Torkoal here has to watch out for the Hisuan Arcanine, otherwise Eruption obviously looks quite good. They actually also have Primarina, that's another threat. They have Rillaboom and Gambit, so it's not that easy for Indeedee and Armarouge in this one. I mean, Double Dark is really tough for Armarouge, so I probably want to drop that. Hisuan Lilligant plus Torkoal here doesn't feel the best. We also don't have Earth Power here on Torkoal, right? So I think Hisuan Arc is just a pretty big problem. This could be Gallade Indeedee lead. Indeedee Torkoal is low-key interesting, but Primarina would be a problem. Lilligant's damage output is actually low-key really strong in this one if I lead it. I think it could be a Torkoal Lilligant lead. Probably want Ursaluna though, so then I mean dropping Indeedee, which feels bad. Okay, I am going to go with Lilligant Torkoal here. Gallade. Indeedee. I'm not bringing Ursaluna into this one, which might be questionable, because I think now, like, my damage output is just obviously reduced, but this way I at least have a more effective Trick Room mode. And I think, like, Indeedee offering Redirection is also quite good, and Gallade's damage output is really good into this game as well. Murkrow, Primarina. Okay. So this is interesting because Lilligant just immediately pressures Primarina. Like, I could Stellar Terra here, Solar Blade, which I think is really interesting. They might Terra though, obviously. I do have Sleep Powder here as well. They could be Grass Terra. Alternatively, I could just go for After You plus Eruption. But they might Quash me here. I think the play I want to make the most is actually Solar Blade, Primarina, and then switch into Indeedee. If they're going to lead this, now I can have a relatively effective Trick Room setup turn 2. The only thing that could stop it would be Primarina pivoting out into Rillaboom and then Taunt. But Indeedee with the Psychic Seed here should be super good, and this is exactly why I wanted to bring it into this battle. Okay, so there's the Psychic Seed. Okay, Primarina just goes for Protect. That's fine by me. Rain Dance Murkrow here. Oh, okay. Honestly, we're pretty lucky then that they just straight up went for Rain Dance and Protect. Because now this is an interesting spot. I have to Solar Blade here. That being said, because they protected, they actually let me still just Solar Blade them, which is not bad. So I'm down to still click Trick Room here. I think my hesitance with Trick Room was like not knowing if I could set it up very safely, but now they've given me a pretty good opportunity. Like, yes, you've set up Rain Dance, but Indeedee here has the Psychic Seed, and with Terrain up, you can't Prankster Taunt me. I was mainly thinking turn 1 they might consider Quashing, but Primarina is going to pivot. Rillaboom would be a good switch in here if you have it, but that looks like King Gambit. Cool, works for me. So we'll Solar Blade. For the smallest amount of damage, they will foul play into us. And we'll get Trick Room up. Okay, cool. Now, the main thing is we know that Murkrow actually has Rain Dance, so that's a pretty huge problem for us, right? I do have close combat here. You could double Dark type, or like Iron Head. Double Dark into this. I could follow me pretty safely, obviously, right now. I think Gambit could protect here. I'm actually thinking about helping hand close combat into the Murkrow. I'm down. Murkrow pivots, okay. That's fine. Back out into Primarina, which makes sense. Does Gambit Terra here? Okay, nice. A lot about this team is baiting out the Terra so that they just don't have defensive options afterwards. And they're going to Terra Ghost, so that would have soaked up close combat really well. A lot of counters to us here, though, between Terra Ghost and Rain Dance Murkrow. Primarina's not the easiest Pokemon to deal with either, so yeah. I wonder if I would have been better off just clicking Sleep Powder on turn 1, honestly. They will Kowtow Cleave into the NDD there. We survived, but we actually did not want that survival, I think. Would have been better to get a free switch in. Close combat does a ton there, though. Cool. The problem is now you pressure me with Follow Me plus Moonblast. Or Hyper Voice. But I think I should still be switching to Torkoal here. So I'll switch out and go for Follow Me here. Actually, maybe I like Psychicking a little bit more here. In the Primarina. Very good defensive plays from my opponent throughout this game, though. Like, great Gambit switch in, great Ghost Terra, great Primarina switch in. And I haven't been able to utilize my Trick Room super effectively right now. That's one of the awkward things about the NDD sometimes. Or sorry, the Lilligant sometimes. So they'll Kowtow Cleave us here. Okay, nice. Moonblast. That could have been a Hyper Voice, which would have been quite scary. Single target. Still a ton of damage. That feels like Specs damage. Special attack drop definitely sucks here, but it's okay. We'll bring out Gallade now. Two turns of Trick Room. I will Fire Terra, Eruption here, and Sacred Sword into Primarina. And we're clicking Sacred Sword here because we want to cover for them switching into Murkrow. But yeah, that's a really bad special attack drop. That's the risk of staying in with Torkoal like that, though. Or switching in Torkoal like that. That might cost me. Let's see. Because without it, I think we just have a pretty effective double KO in front of us. Here's the Terra. Gambit protects, which isn't surprising. Yeah, my other fear now is that Primarina just underspeeds Gallade, so it outspeeds us under Trick Room. That would be bad. This is a really safe play for them to make, though. You just sacrifice Primarina and then bring out Murkrow. Okay, we are faster, so we get Sacred Sword, and that does KO. Okay, nice. But now the problem is Murkrow gets to come out and just click Rain Dance again, right? And I'm running out of Trick Room. And no more terrain. So you can see Rain Dance is really causing me some issues. Yep. Murkrow comes back out. You should Rain Dance right now if you're my opponent, in my opinion. It's just -1 Weather Ball plus Psycho Cut into Gallade. Like, how much is that even doing? And then what is their last one? To me, it feels like I should be getting rid of the Murkrow. So I think I want to switch Torkoal out into Lilligant. And Sacred Sword into Murkrow. This is an intense one, but yeah, I think they have a really good defensive core against what we brought into this game. And Ghost Terra, so they actually Sucker Punch us here. No Rain Dance, so they're probably just going to foul play Oh, no. Okay, it is still Rain Dance. Yeah. Makes sense. They're just faster with Gambit under Trick Room. Ooh. You get a crit there. That does a ton of damage. Okay. We have a lot of options right now. First question is, do I even want to set up Trick Room again? I think close combat into Murkrow is pretty safe. I'm thinking just close combat and Psycho Cut, to be honest. They end up Tailwinding. Okay, so that could have been Trick Room, maybe. Or Sleep Powder Trick Room. We are still faster than the Gambit, which is good to know. Swords Dance. Whoa, okay. Tailwind Swords Dance. We Psycho Cut here. That does so much damage. Another critical hit coming out. Citrus Berry Swords Dance Gambit. Whoa, okay. Interesting. Don't think a Solar Blade even KOs Gambit with that Citrus. Their last one's Ursaluna. Okay, so they're going to be pretty weak into Gallade. We're still faster than you. I think I want to Sleep Powder into Gambit. Is Ursaluna going to be faster than us under Tailwind? I wouldn't expect it to be. So I want to like Sleep Powder here in Trick Room personally. Nice. They fail Sucker Punch. Yep. Sleep Powder connects. Huge. That's good. Where is Ursaluna launching its attack? Okay, Facade into Gallade. That's fine. Gallade feints. Flame Orb now activates. So I bring Torkoal out now. This is really tense. Obviously, I could After You plus Eruption, but then if they knock Lilligant out, I would lose. I mean, I want to just Solar Blade here, but is Ursaluna tanky enough to survive would be the question. You've taken one turn of sleep. No, you haven't taken any turns of sleep yet. So basically, if I click After You Eruption and they knock out Torkoal, I win the game. If I go for Solar Blade and they target Lilligant, I would win. Okay, I'm gonna Solar Blade and Heat Wave here. Oh, Ursaluna just protects. Okay, that's huge. Because Gambit can't protect, so now I just should get the knockout onto that. Unless Heat Wave misses. Cool. You protect. Here's Heat Wave. Coming out from Torkoal. Nice, it doesn't miss. So we knock out Ghost Terra Gambit. Citrus Ghost Terra Gambit, though, very unconventional set, I would say. Normally you see, just like Dark Terra, Black Glasses, sometimes Assault Vest. I mean, they could just Earthquake right now, right? Like, we have this defense drop. The question is whether or not Solar Blade gets the one-hit knockout. The other question would be whether or not single target Eruption would be stronger right now. With us being at like 2/3 health versus Solar Blade. Because we are Fire Terra'd. I'm actually really not sure here. But I'm going to go for Solar Blade and Weather Ball. Alright, let's find out. You should be clicking Earthquake in this position if you're my opponent. Blade from Lilligant. Hangs on with the sliver. Drain Punch? What? Okay, that's fine. Weather Ball just KOs them. But Earthquake there, if they had it, would have won them the game. I'm guessing they didn't have Earthquake. And they had Facade, Headlong Rush, Drain Punch, Protect. But yeah, that was really close. I mean, there was... if they had Earthquake and they clicked it there, we would have lost for sure. And given that we actually did knock them out with Solar Blade, like, I think them protecting with the Ursaluna also was maybe a... Like, they could have just won the game outright if they had knocked Lilligant out, right? So this was a really, really intense game. Super back and forth. We ran into a lot of techs that were scary for us between Ghost Terra as well as Murkrow having Rain Dance. But yeah, you know, they clearly have a lot of unconventional techs here between the Swords Dance, Ghost Terra, Gambit. I think if Gambit also just attacked, they would have been in a better spot as well. But I do want to do the Lilligant damage calc onto the Ursaluna. So looking at the damage calc, Solar Blade is 76 to 89% against Ursaluna. It had only taken one tick of burn, and so we were not going to get the one-hit knockout from the range that it was at. And actually, the Eruption would have been just slightly stronger and would have given me a slightly better chance of knocking out Ursaluna. I really wasn't 100% sure based on the HP range that the Torkoal was at. But yeah, the Charcoal here with the Eruption and Fire Terra and Sun, single target, does 82 to 97%. So obviously, there's a slightly higher upper bound here, and with that one tick of burn, we were in a slightly better position to actually get that one-hit knockout. But it was one of those things where, like, to me, I just wasn't 100% sure about either, and this is why it's really important to do damage calcs after the game to learn, right? Because it's always better to go for after you Eruption, but I didn't recognize that in that current situation, right? So now it's like if I'm ever up against Ursaluna again and I'm at around, you know, the 64% health that I was at, I'll know what the more optimal play to go for there is. But yeah, the lack of Earthquake ends up punishing them, and, you know, Facade plus Headlong Rush are kind of always on Ursaluna as well as Protect, and the fourth move is flexible. Right? Earthquake, I think, is just so strong, but in this case, then not having Earthquake punish them, and we were able to win, even though they were able to survive the turn. All right, that win gets us into Master Ball tier, so let's just keep trucking on and seeing what we get. Okay, we've got Ursaluna Blood Moon, Entity plus the Sneasler, Pelipper plus Archaludon, and Dragapult. So two obvious duos in Pelipper, Archaludon, as well as Entity plus the Sneasler. Pelipper is going to be a pretty huge threat here with Wide Guard. In fact, I think, yeah, it shuts down so much of our team, so we'll want to watch out for that in particular. Ursaluna is going to be valuable into it. Psycho Blade Gallade's good into it. But Pelipper is such a big threat to what we have here that I've got to be super careful. I don't think they'd lead it, so I think they'd have it as a switch-in. Entity Sneasler would be interesting. I guess if they don't lead it, we could take advantage of that, and if they lead it, what would I do? Actually, what's the downside of them leading it? Me just outright leading Torkoal? I don't hate Entity plus Armarouge in this one, I think. We definitely want Ursaluna. Is it crazy that I don't even want to bring Torkoal because of Pelipper? I don't think that's that crazy, right? Pelipper just shuts us down so hard. Yeah, I'm actually going to straight up just not bring Torkoal. What this means, though, is that Pelipper offensively is really, really good into us, right? Weather Ball plus Hurricane is just super powerful, so I have to be very careful. Yeah, I think in this spot, the main thing that I'm worried about is Sash Pelipper just being able to stay on the field and get multiple really powerful attacks off. Dragapult plus Archaludon. Okay, that's cool. What in the world would Dragapult be running here? Choice Band U-turn? You could U-turn out into Pelipper and then, like, Electro Shot. I think here I'm going to go for Trick Room and Expanding Force. This is a little bit risky, right? Because let's say they... Okay, yeah, they do U-turn into us. Nice. Cool. Into Pelipper, presumably. But getting a Expanding Force as Pelipper switches in is a huge deal. The question is whether or not, like, Archaludon would be able to one-shot Armarouge from this range. Because it is going to go for that Electro Shot, yeah. Did you commit to doubling up onto Armor Rouge? Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, so does that get the knockout onto us? Ah, it does. Okay, so it could have been a Protect there on turn 1, but we at least get Trick Room up, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, and I think, yeah, it'd be hard to Protect there because they could easily make the same play they just did, but swapped around. I think I'm happy to bring out Ursaluna right now. Yeah. I want to get that Flame Orb activated ASAP. I think here, this turn, our Chaladon going for a defensive Terra makes sense. So what I want to do is Psychic into Pelipper and then just protect with the Ursaluna. Psychic into Pelipper is actually reasonable damage here. And if we bait out an like our Chaladon Terra, then next turn I can go like Helping Hand Facade, for example, and Ghost Terra. Maybe this turn I could have also just pushed the tempo and attack with the Ursaluna. But I think without knowing their Terra right now, it doesn't feel great because I could take a really negative trade. And we don't have Flame Orb online yet either. But yeah, Choice Band Dragapult with U-Turn looks like is what we were up against there. Okay, we do bait out the Terra. Excellent. Grass Terra is what I would expect. Fairy. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think next turn we'll probably go for Ghost Terra Helping Hand Facade. I think my main fear is in order, like, they could get around that by just switching the Archaladon out. So then the question is whether or not Helping Hand Headlong Rush would get the knockout onto them, but I'm not 100% confident on that. They're going to Electro Shot Indeedee. Nicely done. Okay. But I also don't know if you really want to switch out when you have all these boosts up right now. Nice. Indeedee takes that. Good double up. Very good play. Does that get the KO? It does. All right, so we won't have Helping Hand pressure online. Nicely done. I could have maybe just clicked Facade onto Pelipper. That may have still just gotten the knockout outright. Flame Orb activates now. Can bring out Gallade. Don't think Facade one-shots this, so I'm already caught into a really tough spot. The question is also who Pelipper targets now, because I could defensively Terra this, but they could just Hurricane me here. I do think I need to double up onto our Chaladon, though. Really good play by my opponent. We could still definitely win this, but I think that was a very nice call to double up onto Indeedee. I thought Indeedee might have a chance of surviving that as well, but yeah, we just took a little too much. I'm going to Terra here. Facade, Psycho Cut. I mean, if Facade actually just one-shots our Chaladon, then we're fine, because then Psycho Cut just gets redirected into Pelipper, but I suspect that it won't. And then the problem with that is the Pelipper, if it makes the right target selection here and clicks Hurricane, like I could have Terra'd Gallade as well, right? I think Ursaluna Terraing is the more obvious option. So here's Facade. Yeah, we just fall short. That was so close. Psycho Cut will finish it off, but now the question is, where did Pelipper target? Did you just Hurricane Gallade? And if so, is it just a one-hit KO? I would expect it to be. Although I guess Ursaluna theoretically could pull off a 1v3 in this matchup. Okay, it is Weather Ball, though. That keeps us in this game. It's doing so much damage. Like, it's not Choice Specs, is it? Because I didn't think Indeedee would actually faint, but the Rain Boost obviously is a lot. And I think that Dragapult should be Choice Band, right? So, like, what's scary for my opponent is you shouldn't be able to protect with that Pokemon. If we get one more knockout and force Dragapult out, even if there's only one turn of Trick Room left, we just get a guaranteed knockout onto that slot with Headlong Rush. So, yeah. Sneasler comes out, okay? We're going to get the Psychic Seed activated here. You can't Fake Out, though. 2 turns of Trick Room. So I think I can just Psycho Cut into Pelipper here. And basically we don't want to click Facade right now because they could switch into the Dragapult. So I think Headlong Rush plus Psycho Cut here is fine because you can't click Fake Out. And even if you double protect, then the next turn we pressure with the double KO. If their play would be to double protect here and then switch Pelipper out into Dragapult, but Pelly's just going to switch into Pult immediately, which I'm fine with. Okay. Sneasler does have Protect, though. Let's see if Psycho Cut gets the one-hit knockout here. This was the safest play for me to make, but I could have maybe made a read here, because I'm not sure Psycho Cut gets the KO. Wow. It's got 1 HP. Okay. Last turn of Trick Room and Rain, though. Oh, now my opponent can make a switch. But I think we just go for the safe Psycho Cut into Dragapult and Facade into Sneasler. Pult switches, which is fine. If you don't get the double protect, I'm pretty sure I win here. But if they get the double, I think I lose. And they get it. Wow. I wonder what that damage roll on Dragapult is. I mean, I guess it's still not 100% over because I can just click Earthquake with Ursaluna now. They can Dragon Darts. They get a Phantom Force. Yeah, it's still not over. We could still win this. But yeah, if they didn't get the double protect, we just win immediately. But double protect is, of course, one of the best ways to beat Hard Trick Room. It's just not, you know, the most consistent because your odds of getting it aren't super high. And yeah, because this was banned Dragapult, like if we had gotten that knockout, I guess Pelipper may have just been able to protect, but it survived with what literally looks like 1 HP. So yeah, I think like the play I could go for is just Trick Room here and protect. The question is, what does Dragapult lock into? It could Phantom Force here. I could also Psycho Cut protect. Yeah, I mean, Trick Room Protect is so obvious. Like, I think they might just Dragon Darts and then Sneasler target Gallade. Okay, it's Throat Chop into us. Nice. But if it's Choice Band Darts, maybe you still KO me? You go for Phantom Force. Yeah, Phantom Force is always super safe there. But if you end up Phantom Forcing into Gallade, I would win. This turn, the speed order is going to go Ursaluna, Gallade, Dragapult, Sneasler. Yeah, we could still pull this off right now. Because of Earthquake pressure. I assume they're Phantom Forcing the Gallade, honestly, but maybe they're targeting Ursaluna. I haven't revealed Wide Guard yet, so I think no need to reveal that. Psycho Cut into you. Facade into you. Sneasler should always protect here. Yeah. And then you just let Phantom Force take the knockout. But for example, if they target the Gallade, I just win next turn by clicking Earthquake. So let's see. Okay, Psycho Cut's gonna miss. Okay, it's into Gallade. So we just click Earthquake, I think. Holy shoot, this is so intense. 34 down to 20, so I can take one more turn of burn as well. I haven't revealed Earthquake yet. Now we finally click it. Should be Choice Band on Dragapult. Nice. There's Earthquake. Should be super effective and should be a double KO. Woo! We found the way to win. Nice. I think if they click just Dragon Darts plus Throat Chop on a Gallade, I had no way to win this one. But I figured, yeah, my only way of winning would be if they let us, you know, set up Trick Room again somehow once the double protect came out. So, yeah, this was really scary because I think my opponent played turn 1 and turn 2 super, super well. Got the Pelipper in safely. Archaludon was able to boost up, and then yeah, some really critical survivals both on the Archaludon as well as the Dragapult. But I want to pull up the damage calc and actually look at the calcs against both of those. Couple calcs that I wanted to show all of you. Psycho Cut into the Dragapult is a 75% chance to get a one-hit knockout, and so yeah, it would have been nice to just eliminate that threat immediately. So the odds are pretty good, but not guaranteed, and obviously the Dragapult did survive. The Facade into Terra Fairy Archaludon, we should never assume would get a one-hit KO, which was the case that I was playing under, but we came so close to knocking, I wondered if there was a chance. But yeah, this this is a pretty standard benchmark, just max HP 4 defense, and so we should not expect this to get the KO ever. The Pelipper Weather Ball into Indeedee had a 44% chance to get a one-hit knockout from the HP range that we were at. So, if they didn't get that one-hit knockout, then I would have been able to go for just Helping Hand Facade the next turn. Although then my opponent would have been able to potentially consider switching the Archaludon out into the Dragapult. I guess I could also probably just gone for something like Helping Hand plus the Headlong Rush instead, which actually does secure the one-hit knockout, so that's actually probably the safer play if Indeedee had survived, just to cover for a potential Dragapult switch it, and then Ghost Terra there as well. And then Weather Ball is just so powerful. Even into the Ghost Terra Ursaluna, I was like, oh, is this Choice Specs damage? But nope, it's just that powerful. Rain plus Pelipper, even with Ursaluna being fairly bulky, does 57 to 68%. So that is quite powerful. But yeah, just wanted to show these calcs because these were all things that I wanted to learn after the game. Okay, we've got Hisuan Typhlosion here with King Gambit, Rillaboom, Glimmora, Whimsicott, and the Maushold. So Glimmora is going to be a problem for Torkoal. Gambit's a big problem for Indeedee plus Armarouge. Don't know what kind of Maushold set it is, which is scary. Population Bomb just destroys Indeedee. So what do I want to lead with here? I'm thinking Indeedee Gallade, Torkoal, Ursaluna. If they didn't have Whimsicott, I would definitely lean into Lilligant, but they do. Yeah, and Lilligant Torkoal is just not very good into a Typhlosion lead, for example. So I'm gonna go Indeedee Gallade here. I don't know. Armarouge isn't terrible either, I guess, but it's the Gambit that really spooks me. Indeedee Gallade, Torkoal, Ursaluna. But yeah, I think what's scary here is I don't have a very free turn one. They have a good mix of offense and defense, right? Typhlosion being able to just resist a fair amount of our attacks is already fairly scary. They also have the Glimmora, which is good defensively. It's going to be Whimsicott Typhlosion, okay. I mean, so the upside here is that I have Wide Guard, but they could theoretically just Shadow Ball. That'd be kind of nuts, though. I think I still just go for Wide Guard Trick Room here on turn one. The question is whether or not I want to consider Terroring this, because Terra helps me survive Shadow Ball as well as anything from here. Trick Room. Because I would love to conserve my Terra for Torkoal personally. Okay, I'm not going to Terra. I'm just going to Trick Room Wide Guard. I think it'd be kind of crazy to just click Shadow Ball here at Typhlosion anyway. Right? They're going to Terra. I guess what I would be worried about now is single target Torkoal. Or sorry, single target Typhlosion. They go for Overheat, and they just obliterate the Indeedee. They go for Wide Guard. I assume they're clicking Sunny Day here. Yep. Is it a spread move? Let's see. Nice. Oh, that is so good for us. Beautiful. We bait out a Terra and we get Trick Room up. Could not be a better outcome for us. Perfect. Gallade with that Wide Guard is just so important against all the spread moves that exist in this format. Typhlosion, Golden Go. I am happy to now go for Helping Hand and Sacred Sword into Typhlosion. I think that covers for anything they could switch into. And if we catch a King Gambit on the switch in, that would be the dream. Okay, it's Rillaboom. That's fine. Torkoal's already looking very good right now. Oh, if they have Encore here with Whimsicott, this would be interesting. But I guess it's fine, because I went for Helping Hand anyway. Nice. Okay. Cool. Because Encore would have just reversed Trick Room immediately. Oh my gosh. I, like, always forget how powerful Gallade is with Sharpness and Helping Hand. I keep expecting, like, that combo to do, I don't know, like, 80 to 90% to Rillaboom. The fact we're able to just get a one-hit knockout is disgusting. Typhlosion comes back out. I'm happy to just Helping Hand Sacred Sword again, honestly. Whimsicott can Moonblast me, but I don't really mind. Typhlosion is normally going to be choiced in this position. Could be Charcoal. Let's see. Okay. It actually does have Protect. So that's a nice bait by my opponent, but I'm fine. Like, you get to Moonblast me at best, right? Into Gallade. I'll just Helping Hand Sacred Sword again, and now this is just a waiting room for Eruption Torkoal. Yeah. Like, they just don't really have switch-ins into this. Nothing can switch into Helping Hand Sacred Sword. And if you KO Gallade, I just bring out Torkoal and I Fire Terra Helping Hand Eruption. Turn 1 with Hard Trick Room is so important, though. So, yeah. I think if I'm them, I probably just go for a double Protect right now. Hope for the best. Yep, they go for it. I mean, that's absolutely the right play. So, maybe I could have just Fire Terra Gallade in this one, honestly. I was like, you know, I'd rather just get a free switch in into Torkoal. Or Ursaluna, quite frankly. Because, yeah, how do they deal with Ursaluna? Actually, no, I think it has to be Torkoal here. The reason for this is because I think Ursaluna, like, then you can just switch the Typhlosion out. It's the last one of Trick Room right now. I'm gonna Helping Hand, Fire Terra, Eruption. I think in retrospect it actually was correct to Terra Gallade, just because now what I'm worried about is, like, this is my last one of Trick Room, right? So, and I don't expect to get a one-hit knockout onto Typhlosion either. Fire Terra Gallade would have just perfectly walled them, and then, like, Gallade is just helpful in setting up a second Trick Room in this battle. If I had Fire Terra'd earlier, I would still be around with Gallade right now. And then, okay, Typhlosion switches. Glimmora would be their best bet. Okay, this is getting a little scary now, but I think it's still fine with Follow Me pressure. Because, like, the sun is also about to expire, which is actually good for us. I don't know if I really want the sun. Although I guess it means Weather Ball's not very effective. There's Helping Hand. Okay, Eruption comes out. I assume they're Covert Cloak Whims. Oh, that just one-shots Glimmora. Okay. It is Sash on Whimsicott, though. But I think that's... Is that fine? Because now you can Sunny Day again. One blast into type Torkoal. Yeah, this is scary, because now you bring out Typhlosion, and then you Sunny Day Eruption. The fact they were Sash Whims was also a problem. If they were Covert Cloak, which normally a lot of Whimsicotts are, we would just get the double knockout, and then Typhlosion doesn't get the sun set up again. I'm assuming this is Charcoal. Got the special defense boost right now. Yeah, I think I just go for Trick Room and Heat Wave right now. They Sunny Day Eruption. I mean, great double protect by them. I think not Terroring Gallade may have actually honestly cost me a little bit here. Let's see if this just double KOs us. Okay, nice. We survive with NDD. Huge. And we get crit with Torkoal. I think Torkoal would have survived that as well, so... This game could have gone a little bit better, but I don't think you beat Ursaluna now that I get Trick Room up. The main thing I have to do is just make sure I click Helping Hand to make sure I don't get Encored. But with Helping Hand, I can just Helping Hand Headlong Rush. Yeah. Actually, because Terrain disappears, I think Helping Hand Earthquake is fine. Helping Hand. Earthquake. Because Earthquake is always just going to pick up the double knockout. I just want to make sure I don't get encored. Yep, Typhlosion protects. It's fine. We knock out Whimsicott. Yep. That's the only way I could lose the game, if I reversed my own Trick Room and let them reverse it. I think if Torkoal didn't get crit, I would assume would survive. But yeah, them not being Choice Typhlosion, which so many Typhlosions are, and being Sash Whimsicott definitely made this harder. Plus, they got the double protect. Without the double protect, we would just, I think, win immediately by KOing Typhlosion. But I think it's a good sign that our RNG against double protects has not been the best in this episode, and we've still been able to win. Cool. Now it's just a 1v1. You can't be Focus Ashed. Yeah, just click Earthquake. I mean, any attack does it here. I guess maybe Facade is technically the best item move choice. Even if you're Shukaberry Typhlosion, do you survive that attack? I wouldn't expect it to, but yeah. Either way, yeah, we had such an early lead in this one by being able to set up Trick Room, and then Gallade was just doing so much work, but then the multiple protects made things more challenging for us. Fortunately, Glamora didn't hang on from that eruption, so we were able to just get rid of that. And even with Sun and Fire Terra, we were still able to survive Eruption with Indeedee, which was huge, and that's why Psychic Seed is such a valuable item. Okay, we have an opposing Trick Room team, which I think should be really interesting. Oranguru, Torkoal, Hisuan, Zoroark, Gallade, Primarina, and Ursaluna Blood Moon. Zoroark is a new addition that people have been adding to these compositions, and it is really scary. Because, especially in Close Team Sheep Best of 1, like the variance that it can do just by leading it is horrifying. I think Expanding Force from Armrouge is really good, but we have to respect Wide Guard from Gallade. I'm thinking Lilligant Torkoal is the lead here. I'm just really scared of what Zoroark could do to us. I don't really want to set up Trick Room in this game is how I feel about it right now. Yeah. What would Zoroark disguise itself as? Lilligant, Torkoal. Ursaluna. I feel like I should go for Gallade for Wide Guard. Gallade plus Indeedee. I ended up not bringing Armrouge. I don't know. Expanding Force is so good here, but like I'm just so worried about Gallade with Wide Guard, and like one bad turn with Armrouge means Armrouge is just gonna get tapped by Ursaluna's Earth Power or Primarina's Hyper Voice. But I don't know if Indeedee really was the right choice here. We'll see. Torkoal, Primarina. Okay. I really want to go for Sleep Powder onto their Torkoal. And Heat Wave here. Because I think Primarina could protect, it could Defensive Terra, it could switch out. It could be Zoroark as well. Yeah, they protect. I mean, it might be a double protect though, let's see. Okay, it's not. Nice. And we hit Sleep Powder. That's huge to start. Because that means now I can potentially go for After You Eruption. This also could be Zoroark instead of Torkoal. It's not. Okay. Oh, actually, I should have paid attention to the order of activation of Sun. I realized I didn't do that. I'm not gonna lie, I really want to just go for After You, Fire Terra, Eruption right now. Like, I think Primarina's caught in a really tricky spot, so I might even consider protecting or switching. Sorry, terroring or switching. And I don't feint to a Hyper Voice anyway. An Eruption here just KOs Torkoal and should deal over 50% to Primarina. So I'm kind of down to just send it. Yeah, I think Lilligant Torkoal's really good against a lot of the... Well... Okay. It turns out to be Life Orb Primarina with Aqua Jet. I guess they went for that because they were expecting to just get KO'd by Solar Blade, but this works out even better for us because I wasn't expecting to knock out Primarina. Yeah. So they end up kind of wasting a turn, but Life Orb Aqua Jet, really interesting. I wonder if it's like weakness policy Torkoal. Aqua Jet's also so weak that I think it's better to always just go for... Not always better, but generally better to just go for like Heat Wave in that position. They bring out Ursaluna Blood Moon. Also, yeah, if they Aqua Jet this, they could have broken my Focus Sash, but they did not, which I'll gladly take. I'm happy to just after you and Eruption again. This mode is just so strong since they don't have anything to stop us. But of course, we were lucky to hit that Sleep Powder on turn 1. Miss could have been pretty scary. Ooh, okay, they're going to go for Vacuum Wave. Nice. That'll allow them to now get a Hyper Voice off before... Because they should survive Eruption given how much damage I took. Nice play. Still a ton of damage onto both. They opt for Dazzling Gleam. Okay. But the amount of priority here is actually a little bit scary. What I can do to counteract it is switch into Indeedee to block it. Primarina's down to its last attack, basically. So I'm down here to Solar Blade. Actually, is it better to Solar Blade or Close Combat? Solar Blade is fine. I want to Solar Blade into Ursaluna and then switch into Indeedee. Ideally, what ends up happening is Ursaluna Vacuum Waves, we KO it, Primarina goes for non-priority, and it faints from Life Orb. But Vacuum Wave was a really nice tech there. I think, like, after you plus Eruption's always safe that last turn, just because, like, it covers for potential Terras on their end. But, yeah, they survive with just enough HP. That being said, I think Hyper Voice may have been better for them to just try to do more damage to Torkoal. But... now I'm really happy I brought Indeedee. I didn't think about the amount of priority they could have, because I don't really look at Primarina and Ursaluna and think, oh, this is, you know, a bunch of priority staring me down the face. But Psychic Seed, very good here. Terrain is now set up. Beautiful. We block Aqua Jet. Excellent. And they are not going to go for priority with Ursaluna. We are going to just be able to Solar Blade here for a KO. Awesome. And with Primarina basically being on its last legs here, all we need to do is just target down next to Ursaluna. So that faints. Or sorry, next to Primarina. Dazzling Gleam, Aqua Jet, Hyper Voice, Protect presumably is the moveset. Be shocking if you didn't have Protect. And their last one is going to be Gallade. Cool. With Gallade, I am happy to just go for Solar Blade and... Actually, let's think this through. What do we have in the back? Our own Gallade and Torkoal. And there's still one turn of Sunlight left. I'm gonna just Solar Blade Primarina here and Psychic into Gallade. I just don't want Primarina to get another attack off here. And we are going to deny it here. Cool. Although I wonder if Helping Hand Solar Blade would have just KO'd the Gallade. Like, the main thing I was thinking is Terra hasn't come out yet, so, like, what if Gallade survives the turn and they get a double KO? Probably doesn't matter since we still have such a big lead. And get Psychic off here as well. Perfect. Trick Room? Yeah, now I can just use my Torkoal under Trick Room. So, I think in this case, we just had Pokemon that were generally, like, the Lilligant plus Torkoal mode. Oh! That's cool. Okay, Room Service Gallade. Doesn't really make too much of a difference, though, right? No more Sunlight. We just wait for the free switch into Torkoal. I'm happy to just Solar Blade. Actually, we don't need a Solar Blade. Let's just Sleep Powder. Psychic. Doesn't matter. Like, Gallade's not going to win a 1v4 here. Yeah, they Sacred Sword into us. We bring out Torkoal, and then we can just follow me Weather Ball for the win. We just had a huge lead, thanks to Torkoal. And I think, like, that one turn where they clicked Aqua Jet really cost them a lot. But it makes sense because they were just expecting to feint. They just never Terra'd in this game, and so, you know, I wanted to respect the option of them going for Terra because I thought it made a lot of sense. So I'm really wondering what, like, why not Terra Primarina that turn? But now I can just Weather Ball. Follow me. Okay. think Torkoal should still be faster even with room service. Yeah. Nice. Fire Terra boosted, Sun boosted, Charcoal boosted Weather Ball, and Gallade will faint now. So I'm just glad Zoroark didn't make an appearance, but I really think if they're leading Primarina plus Torkoal, maybe... Is there any chance they don't even have Hyper Voice and it's Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Aqua Jet? Because... yeah, like, you setting up the Sun would only decrease your own power of Primarina. I don't know. That really screams like weakness policy Torkoal to me if they're leading that, but they didn't go for, like, the self-target on turn 1 either. So, I have no idea. But either way, I think one of the modes you should consider when you face against an opposing team that is, like, even more dedicated to setting up Trick Room is Lilligant plus Torkoal, because you can just dish out so much damage immediately. Okay, we have a fun rain team here. Politoed, Basculegion, Bronzong, Vikavolt, Ursaluna Blood Moon, and Archaludon. Bronzong here is really scary. The only thing I can really do to hit it would be our fire type attacks, and like a Fire Terra Bronzong would be tough. I think I need Ursaluna. If I want to set up Trick Room, what do I want to lead? I think like Bronzong could be in prison as well, which scares me a ton. Huh. If I were my opponent, I would want as much anti-Armarouge as possible, so I think Bronzong, Archaludon, Politoed is like a very clear trio to bring. You could even lead like Bronzong, Politoed, maybe Bronzong, Archaludon. You could also Bronzong like Basculegion and flip turn out, for example. But is Gallade really... I mean, I do think Gallade's probably better here. Gallade's been really good today, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna go NDD, Gallade, Torkoal, Ursa. Yeah, I don't know. Armarouge just doesn't feel very good when they have Bronzong and Archaludon. I think, like, Armarouge is really good in exposing teams that, like, don't have multiple resistances / wide guard / grassy terrain. But in this case, it's a team that's just well constructed and has a couple things that we have to really be careful about. Bronzong Ursaluna. Okay. If you're in prison Trick Room, this is really scary. Personally, I would like to go for... Oops, not Terra. Follow Me, Sacred Sword. Like, my strategy around this is to just ignore Bronzong for now. Nice Protect. Could have gone for Helping Hand Sacred Sword here. Go for Follow Me. They could maybe be clicking Trick Room to, like, reverse our Trick Room, which would be funny. And then that would actually just let Trick Room get set up. Okay. But now I wonder if it's just Min Speed Ursa. Which could be the case. I could wide guard. I just don't know how fast their Ursaluna is going to be relative to us. Like, are they Min Speed? It would make some sense. I guess I'll still just go for Follow Me plus Sacred Sword, though. Because even if you normal Terra, we should survive Hyper Voice. Maybe not. This would probably be a pretty good calc to learn. Anyway, it's interesting because I was thinking, hey, in this game, they don't even, like... They want to deny me Trick Room, but them setting up Trick Room might actually be better. Iron Defense is scary, but Torkoal can just Eruption at any point, so it's not that bad. Yeah, they do go for Hyper Voice. Does that one-shot Gallade is the question. Oh. That did, like, nothing. What? Why did it do so little damage? I mean, they didn't have a boosting item, it looks like, but still. I'm just curious, because I have the damage calc pulled up next to me. Hyper Voice? Oh, wow. It's so much weaker than I realized into Gallade. They weren't Terra. I mean, yeah, they were Terra. Wow, okay. And they weren't Life Orbed either. I mean, Archaludon just comes out. Their last one obviously should be Torkoal. You've Iron Defense, but Body Press shouldn't KO me, so why don't I just Helping Hand, Sacred Sword, or Chaladon now? Yeah, I'm surprised how weak Hyper Voice is, but I think Gallade is just bulkier than I give it credit for because its special defense stat is actually really solid. Okay, they just Body Press into D. They don't KO me. Nice. We just Sacred Sword. Super effective. Boosted. Cool. And that just faints. Nice. Now you just bring out Politoed, right? Yeah. And Torkoal just wins. Fire Terra, Helping Hand, Eruption. Cool. I will just go for Follow Me here and go for Psycho Cut onto Politoed. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just surprised at how little Ursaluna did. I'm also curious about its item since it wasn't Life Orbed. Like, normally you want to run Silk Scarf or Life Orb. Gyro Ball actually does not even KO there. We're faster than Politoed. Psycho Cut almost just one-shots them. Muddy Water will get the double KO, I assume. Gallade gets crit. Maybe Gallade would have actually survived. I was just talking about underestimating its special defense stat, but it doesn't matter. Like, this is all just a waiting room for Torkoal. They committed a lot of resources and to trade the Terra plus Ursaluna for like half health onto both of my Pokemon just put them in a really tough spot. But yeah, like the main thing in this game was like, how do we deal with Bronzong, right? We don't know what moveset it is. It ends up being Iron Defense, Body Press, Trick Room, Gyro Ball, which is totally fine. Last turn in Trick Room, we just Fire Terra, Eruption now, and Facade into Politoed. When you're playing up against opposing weather with Torkoal, like a big advantage is just like trying to get knockouts sooner than your opponent. So you basically win the weather war, which is really important. And in this case, also a big question was baiting out the Terra from Bronzong or something else. If Bronzong Terras, then at least it means Ursaluna can probably just Facade it later on in the game. Iron Defense is scary, but it takes a little bit of time to get going. Like, you would probably need, like, +4, +6 to really start picking up one-hit knockouts, and so that means you need to stay on the field and click Iron Defense multiple turns, and the slot next to Bronzong basically has to be applying a lot more pressure, but yeah. So if you're curious about the damage calc, even Life Orb, Ursaluna, Blood Moon, Hyper Voice against max HP Gallade is 58 to 69%, which is, yeah, honestly weaker than I expected. I was like, does this get a one-hit knockout? But Gallade's base 68 HP makes 115 special defense, so even with no investment, you can take things pretty well there. So yeah, Follow Me, Sacred Sword ends up being really safe, and Sacred Sword was just so good into their composition, right? Like, the Ursaluna was just threatened by Gallade immediately, and this is the awkward thing. My opponent like wants to set up Trick Room, but then Torkoal just outpaces their entire team under Trick Room. I think they may have been better off bringing Politoed out first, because with her Chaladon, normally you're Assault vested, so Helping Hand plus Sacred Sword, which is like a really safe play. And with the Bronzong, even with the Iron Defense boost, it didn't really matter for the Gallade specifically. But they did end up bringing, you know, the core of Politoed, our Chaladon plus Bronzong, which we were expecting. That was super good into Armor Rouge. To me, I just like felt like if I led Armor Rouge plus Indy, I would have been in a really bad spot in this game, but Gallade was just incredible for us. Alright, rank number 28 here. Fun to go up against someone so high ranked. Whimsicott, Sylveon, Garchomp, Gambit, Rotom, Armor Rouge. Huh, Sylveon is cool to see here. Gambit is scary. Garchomp can be scary with Earthquake. And if it, like, Swords Dance pressure from that could be tough. Their Armor Rouge, I wonder, like, what it has to offer. Anytime I see Sylveon, I immediately think, is there any potential quick attack into weakness policy strat? Ursaluna under Trick Room looks like a beast here. If I can get that going. And this is awkward because maybe they have Expanding Force, so if I bring Indy, I'll set up Psychic Terrain for them. Huh. I think their Armor Rouge also just walls us pretty effectively, which is my concern. What about, like, Armor Rouge King Gambit lead from them? How would I deal with Armor Rouge King Gambit? I think in this one I will go Indy plus Armor Rouge, Ursaluna plus Torkoal. I feel iffy about dropping Gallade in the King Gambit matchup, but, like, the idea here is that Armor Rouge just pressures with Armor Cannon at least into King Gambit, which is good. And I'm bringing Armor Rouge because it gives me a slightly better time into their Armor Rouge. Whereas I think if I led Gallade, I'm just more pressured by their Armor Rouge. And I can't really do much damage to their Armor Rouge either. Let's see. Sylveon Armarouge. Okay. I'll tell you what, I want to just click Trick Room plus Expanding Force here on turn 1. I could see King Gambit switching in for them. So I'm thinking about Armor Canning into Sylveon, which would cover a Gambit switch in. Oh no. Their Meteor Beam, that's really bad. Okay. That makes sense though, given that they don't have like an Entity on their team. I'm just gonna get blown up here. Nicely done. Woo. Goodbye. Yeah. And probably Specs Hyper Voice, maybe Throat Spray. We get Trick Room up, but that's not even, like... I mean, I guess it's still fine. Like, I get to bring out the Ursaluna now. I think this probably Terras now, if I were my opponent. I want to Psychic into Armarouge and then protect Ursaluna this turn, expecting Armarouge to Terra, and then I can Facade next turn into it. No Terra, though. Okay. Might just be protecting then? What? It was neither a Protect nor a Terra. Okay. Interesting. Was not expecting that. Because I could have totally just gone for Headlong Rush. They do have Expanding Force as well. Alright, so we're down to our last 2 Pokemon already. It's fine, but this turn was not ideal because I was trying to play defensive to bait out a Protector or Terra, and they actually just straight up went for neither, which was a nice play. I think my opponent was probably thinking, like, oh, even if you Headlong Rush me there, it's fine because I get a Specs Hyper Voice off, which is really strong into me. So that would make sense. Torkoal out now. Now that we're burnt, so I can just Facade. I want a Fire Terror Eruption Facade. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess Armarouge could have Wide Guard, but if you already have Meteor Beam and Expanding Force, I would expect a Fire type attack like Heat Wave or Armor Cannon, and then Protect as your final move. So I'm making an educated guess they don't have Wide Guard, but if they do, this is just doomed. Either way, I think Armarouge plus Sylveon was a really effective leading to pretty much everything I had. Lilligant Torkoal could have been interesting for just Sleep Powder turn 1, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were Grass Terra Armarouge. Oh my gosh. And they have Wide Guard! Nice. Meteor Beam, Wide Guard, Armarouge. Yeah, that would do it. Could have covered for it, I guess, but like Armarouge is just so threatening here to us as well that I didn't want it to get an attack off. And it's still not over, right? Because we'll survive Hyper Voice here, but yeah, it actually doesn't do that much damage, but it still feels bad. Because I'm gonna guess Armarouge just straight up didn't have Protect either. Maybe I should have just gone for Headlong Rush into it, but I didn't think it was worth it because if they Grass Terra defensively survive and then Hyper Voice and Expanding Force, that's so bad for us. Garchomp comes out. There's only 2 turns of Trick Room left, which is really bad for me. But I think if we can get this turn right, we can still win. Like, I'm going to predict like Garchomp just protects and Facade Sylveon. Oh my gosh, are they just going to go for like Fire Terra Chomp? Oh, Sylveon Terra. Okay, that's good. Into water. Nice. I feel like if you're going for this, you should be protecting Garchomp, so it's still totally winnable if they protect Chomp. Actually, the play is to just attack with both. Yeah, nicely done. I could have actually Earthquake, which would be, like, kind of seemed like a crazy play, but actually would have worked out here. Yeah, that's a nice play by them. And the reason you don't protect Garchomp here is because you know you're going to survive Heat Wave anyway. I wonder if I would have won with Earthquake. We'll see what their last Pokemon is. And I wonder if I can survive Earthquake here with Torkoal. Nope. Bye-bye. But yeah, we ran into the worst Armarouge set possible for us with Meteor Beam and Wide Guard. I'm guessing it just didn't have Protect then. It's just triple offense with Wide Guard, which is, you know, a really nice set. And it's Life Orb Chomp. I think without Life Orb, Torkoal may have been able to survive there. I'm not 100% sure. Like, the difference between Adamant Life Orb versus Jolly. The last one was Gambit. Oh, it was... If I had Earthquake, I would have won, actually. Man, that's crazy. But it seems so crazy to Earthquake yourself, right? And, like, if their last one were Rotom, that would have been bad. Like, because basically what Earthquake would have done was just pick up the knockout, and then we wouldn't have taken any EQ damage. I think this Gambit might still win the 1v1, because... But, yeah. Now you just protect. Yep, exactly. Cool team, though. Very cool armor set. Yeah, we'll get the knockout on a Gambit here. I also wonder, like, maybe they're Assault Vest Gambit, right? So if I had gone for Earthquake, Gambit wouldn't be able to protect, and then I just win the game by clicking Earthquake. But nice Water Terra there with the Sylveon. If they were Spec Sylveon, and we survived another Hyper Voice, and they were indeed Assault Vest, we also could have won the game if I targeted Garchomp there. But yeah, with them not having revealed their hand with Terra, and me not knowing the item on Garchomp, I don't regret the Sylveon target. I don't know. It's just so hard to, like, click Earthquake confidently there, but I actually think it might be the right play, since Torkoal's always going to move first. Eruption, EQ. But I guess if Garchomp protects and I Earthquake, I just lose the game immediately, right? So, yeah. But I think them not protecting and having a defensive Terra on Sylveon is a fairly likely outcome, too. But, yeah, to me, like, I was just in a huge deficit in this game, because they had this really unexpected armor set, both with Power Meteor Beam as well as Wide Guard. And it's the combination of that isn't even that crazy. I think I've just indexed pretty heavily on expecting Protect on Armarouge, although, like, tons of Armarouges don't have Protect. And so, yeah, I just, like, didn't cover for that option very well, and then they exerted their pressure super, super well, right? Like, if I had known that they had Wide Guard, no Protect on Armarouge, I could have just knocked out Sylveon, but of course they could have just clicked Expanding Force the turn that they clicked Wide Guard, so they just very cleanly outplayed me in this one, and it was very impressively done. But the good thing is we totally had tools to win this one, right? Like, it didn't feel like our team was limiting, it was more just that my opponent made some awesome plays with the surprises that they had. Alright, this is a mono dragon team here? Do my eyes deceive me? Dragonite, Archaladon, Como, Dragapult, Hisuan Gudra, and Duraludon? That's not Archaladon. That's a Duraludon. Wow. Because they have an Archaladon. Well, okay. Did not expect to see that. Also, my opponent's ranked top 50, which is awesome. So, we actually don't have much to take advantage of dragons, hilariously enough. Triple Steel Dragon is interesting. Ursaluna feels like it can one-shot everything. Gallade's very good here, too. I think I dropped Torkoal in this one. This feels like Indeedee Armarouge to me with Gallade plus Ursaluna in the back. Yeah. Although Lilligant, I don't know, you can make a good argument for because it can just Sleep Powder and Close Combat everything. But what a cool team. I think this is probably our last game of the episode as well, so an awesome one to end one. Yeah, I just haven't seen Duraludon since Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's going to be led here. That is so cool. Okay. Okay. So what do I want to do? I think, personally, it makes sense to... Is it like Dragon Tail Duraludon? I think that might be the case here. Because what I want to do is Trick Room and then hard switch Armarouge into Ursaluna to just get it out and then pressure Earthquake immediately. Gudra here, I think being Iron Defense would make some sense. Which is okay because we can Sacred Sword with Gallade to ignore the boosts. But let's see. Okay, Ursaluna hits the field. Oh, they actually just Draco us. That did so much more than I anticipated. Okay, they roar us out, but yeah, it was something to switch us out, but fortunately it was into the Armarouge slot. And it brings Gallade out for us, which I'll gladly take. Okay. Ursaluna eating up that much damage is not good, though. Is that Choice Specs? Gudra? Felt like it. Okay. So now what? Gudra switching makes sense. I want a Helping Hand, Sacred Sword, Duraludon. At least my intuition with what Duraludon had to offer here was right. The double up onto Armarouge was nice. But fortunately, yeah, I think if Roar went into Indy, that could have been very ugly very quickly. Unfortunately, at least Ursaluna survived the turn, but... yeah, Goodra does switch. I feel like that specs damage. You did so much damage into my... Dragonite switches in, which is fine. I was thinking about targeting that slot with Psycho Cut, because it's a fairly easy move to make, since they're spexed. At least I'm pretty sure they're spexed. And they protect with Duraludon. Okay, so they do get a free switch in. Nicely done. I think now Duraludon considers switching out maybe into Dragapult. I'm going to Helping Hand Psycho Cut Dragonite. Because Duraludon shouldn't really be an offensive threat here either way, right? We see Roar, we see Protect. But, like, watch this be not Inner Focus Dragonite. I think there's a very good chance. Like, when you're using a team like this, the element of surprise is huge, right? Because it's like, you can just run so many unconventional sets and catch your opponent off guard. It's going to be Terra, though. They're going to stay in. So I would think it's Duraludon Terra. Or Archaludon Terra. It is, yeah. Into Flying. Okay, cool. Baiting out a Terra from that is very good. Does Dragonite protect now is the question. It doesn't. Nice. And it is multi-scale. And it's Thunder Wave. Oh, what is happening? Okay. Thunder Wave and Encore. Oh my goodness. Thunder Wave. Okay, and it's Lefty's Dragonite. What? We're probably going to try to set up a second Trick Room in this one. Huh. Dragonite protecting now makes sense. I mean, if it's support Dragonite like this, anything's possible. I don't want to give up my special defense boost is the thing. Okay, I'm going to Helping Hand Psycho Cut Dragonite. Okay, they stay in, but I think Dragonite protecting here certainly makes sense. Nope, they don't. Okay, nice. We get rid of Dragonite at least. The surprises are just crazy. Choice Specs Goodra, Thunder Wave, Flying Terra, Roar, Duraludon, Specs Hisuan Goodra. I'm fine dealing with Thunder Wave here, though. It's like they're just fishing for paras, and then Como comes out. Okay. Clanging Scales, Clangorous Soul is probably what we really want to respect from this. Last turn of Trick Room. Longcore Lock for 2 turns is the problem. So it should just be a double Protect right now if you're my opponent. We could make the sickest play. Unfortunately, we don't have it available to me right now, but it would be clicking Trick Room with both Pokemon simultaneously. But I'm Encore locked, so I can't do that. Okay, given that Psychic Train's about to expire, I think the right play is to actually switch Indeedee out into Armarouge here and go for Psycho Cut into Como. Because at this point, like, Expanding Force from Armarouge actually just does a ton of damage across the board, right? And we want to target Como here. Like, Archaludon, all it's going to do is spread Thunder Waves at this point, so... I keep calling it Archaludon, Duraludon. It's going to protect, that's fine. Yeah, they go for the double. Fine by me. Psycho Cut. It fails. That's okay. Trick Room expires. Yep. Terrain disappears. Cool. Now I'm happy to click just Expanding Force and then switch into Indeedee. I'm clicking Expanding Force here because they already revealed Roar on the Archaludon. Duraludon. So I want to respect it. The good thing is with this Dragonite and with this Duraludon set, they've done very little damage, right? They've only gotten 1 powerful attack off. Really 1 offensive attack off this whole game in that Draco Meteor, but now I have to attack through paras. And, for example, if they Thunder Wave para me here and Como gets set up, next turn might be spooky. I think a big debate this turn was whether or not I should have just clicked Trick Room as well. but I see a KO in front of me. Oh, they just body press. Okay, wonderful. Nice. We get Expanding Force off. Perfect. So much damage to the Duraludon. Como faints. Perfect. Roar. Nice. That's why we click Expanding Force. So, like, Roar is a cool tech, right? But you have to get it right, and unfortunately for my opponent, both times they clicked Roar, they didn't actually really get much benefit. In fact, like, it helped me. Well, I guess would have been fine if Ursaluna stayed in, but yeah, I've just been able to get so much free damage across the board the 2 turns they clicked Roar. And this is like the classic syndrome of a support Pokemon that, unfortunately, just like stays on the field and does not actually offer very much. The support is nice, right? But they've just clicked Thunder Wave. None of the speeds have mattered. Unfortunately, they haven't gotten any full paras either. Goodra comes out now. Hold on, let's make sure we actually lock up this game. You can lock into Dragon Pulse now if you're my opponent, which would be pretty powerful. I think I want to switch into the out so I have Wide Guard, or sorry, Follow Me support from it. Here I'm going to click Trick Room. Switch out. Okay, wait, yeah, hold on. This game is actually not over. I don't know if I like that play very much, because I think Gallade is my best offensive answer into Goodra. But they go for Muddy Water. Okay. We dodge it with Gallade, which is quite lucky. So Ursa faints. Let's see if they went for Roar here. Nope. Finally, Flash Cannon. Nice. And this time we're clicking Trick Room. Cool. And we get it successfully. Perfect. I think that should be game over then. I can now just bring out Armarouge. Four turns of Trick Room, 3 turns of Terrain. I can just go Sacred Sword, and now I can just commit Terra into Grass and Expanding Force. This is a really cool team, though. I gotta give my opponent huge props for coming up with such a creative Mono Dragon team. Like, every step of the way, I didn't expect anything that was coming. From the Choice Specs Goodra, and the Muddy Water dodge on the Gallade was lucky, but I think even if they had hit, we would survive. Yep, Duraludon protects. But with Grass Terra now, it's just like Muddy Water doesn't even do that much damage. We were also lucky in this game where we didn't really get full paras. Oh, Sacred Sword is also just a one-hit KO there. Sharpness is such a good ability. Like, I keep underestimating its strength. And I've already said that throughout the course of this episode, but that continues to be the case. Expanding Force comes out. So we will just Psycho Cut now and Expanding Force. And yeah, the Grass Terra here, like, we know that they're Choice Specs Goodra, right? So by going for Grass Terra, like, your Muddy Waters are just doing no damage. And so in this game, we were kind of able to just take advantage of the fact that this Duraludon is, like, sitting on the field. And yeah, you have these cool support moves in Thunder Wave and Roar, but, like, Flash Cannon is not doing much damage. So it means, like, I can just keep ignoring that slot and targeting around it. The risk in doing that is, of course, it was able to spread a couple Thunder Waves at the end of the day. But, like, my opponent just didn't have too much damage pressure on the field outside of that Hisuan Goodra, and Hisuan Goodra being choice lock means that if we just get Trick Room up, all it takes is one really powerful attack to knock it out. I think my opponent having committed Terra to the Archaludon also meant that, like, they couldn't defensively Terra anything else. I meant, like, we can just, like, keep targeting what was next to Archaludon. But I gotta say, that was definitely one of the coolest mono teams I've seen in a very long time. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me, and it is a blast to get started with Regulation H. This episode was really fun. I felt like we had a lot of really strong opponents, a lot of tough teams and matchups, and a lot of great games overall. So yeah, if you're looking for a team to just dive right into the format with, I would strongly recommend this team just because it has so much pure strength, and there's so many combinations that your opponents have to deal with. But yeah, my name is CybertronVGC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.